Good evening, everyone. I'm Lissy Bastian. It's Friday, November 13th. Thanks for staying with us. The Standard & Poor or S&P Global Ratings lowered its sovereign currency credit rating for the Bahamas one notch, and now restoring fiscal balance is a priority of the government. The global rating agency lowered the sovereign credit rating from BB to BB-, citing the political challenge of addressing shortcomings in public finances in an uncertain economic climate over the next 1 to 2 years. Justifying its actions, S&P says the country's fiscal measures have evolved slowly, and they expect the pandemic will hinder meaningful public finance reform, while large-scale fiscal deficits and a high debt burden increase funding pressures. Acknowledging the ratings from S&P, Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Finance Peter Turnquest says his ministry has accelerated their legislative reforms to strengthen the country's fiscal framework. It's also following through on structural reforms in the coming months to significantly strengthen accountability and transparency in fiscal and procurement matters. Although the Bahamas is in the same boat as most countries impacted by COVID-19 pandemic, Minister Turnquest says they remain confident in the economy's ability to rebound and the government's commitment to restoring fiscal balance over time. The Deputy Prime Minister also says the government is currently reviewing the report submitted by the Economic Recovery Committee, including a broad range of proposed reforms and recommendations intended to seed new industries and economic opportunities and to expand existing ones to make the Bahamas more attractive for domestic and international investment, to make certain bureaucratic systems function more efficient. 39 new additional COVID-19 cases confirmed for the country after 342 tests were completed yesterday. Health officials confirmed that 19 of the 39 are on New Providence, 19 on Grand Bahama, and 1 confirmed case on Exuma. 285 test results returned negative, and 18 were repeat tests. These new cases bring the national total to 7,163. As it stands, 1,666 cases are active, and with 90 recoveries yesterday, total recovered cases stand at 5,282. The Ministry of Health's COVID-19 report indicates that 23 persons are still in hospital, 2 moderately ill, and 2 in doctors' hospital's intensive care unit. The death toll remains at 155. 30 deaths are under investigation, and there are 30 non-COVID-19 related deaths. 39,379 tests have been completed since March. With COVID-19 protocols in place to help contain the spread of the virus in the country, Police Press Liaison Officer Assistant Superintendent Audley Peters says officers cited multiple offenders, including the owner and patrons of a nightclub in Montel Heights on Wednesday evening, for a breach of the emergency powers order. In a police report, the incident took place shortly after 7 p.m. That's when officers from the COVID-19 Enforcement Unit were alerted to a social gathering at a nightclub on Anthol Street, Montel Heights. On the officers' inspection of the premises, it was discovered that the patrons and proprietor were in violation of the COVID-19 emergency order. The offenders were all cited for offenses of hosting and attending, or attending a social gathering and failing to practice social distancing. Both offenses carry a fine of $500. Just this past Sunday, in his national address, Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis said that more than 2,888 calls had been received by the COVID-19 Enforcement Unit since that unit began in August. He said as a part of the government's COVID-19 response, the unit has dispatched personnel to follow up on reports of mass social gatherings and incidents on isolated breaches. While the Prime Minister advising the public to continue following health protocols in an effort to reduce the spread of COVID-19 that has claimed the lives of nearly 200 Bahamians in the country. He says this much off the heels of the Pan American Health Organization, PAHO, commending the strides made in the early analysis of a vaccine for the virus by pharmaceutical company Pfizer. Early data reveals this week that Pfizer's COVID-19 vaccine candidates could be up to 90% effective. However, officials say the world should wait for the outcome of the study.
Despite the recent good news of a possible vaccine in the months ahead, a widely distributed vaccine will take some time. In the meantime, we must continue to use the public health measures to keep us and our loved ones safe. There is hope on the horizon.
During a Ministry of Health press conference in October, Minister of Health Renwick Wells said no matter what vaccine is recommended by PAHO or any other organization, Bahamian residents are to be assured that the vaccines will be subject to all appropriate trials and that the vaccines will not be forced on anyone who does not wish to take it. You're watching JCN News. When we return, police on Grand Bahama investigating the discovery of a decomposed body, and hear the opposition's take on the pop-up food park, Tin Furrow. Stay with us.
This segment of the news was brought to you by Alive.